Good evening and welcome back to the Football 9. We're here with the match preview today. Stockport County travel to Lincoln City this weekend coming up. It was a disappointing result midweek against Northampton at home, of course. We spoke about it on the post-match live as well. Disappointing because I don't think we got the win that we probably should have got, and obviously spoke about the referee late on as well, who I thought lost control of the game in those last sort of 15-20 minutes. But I think we're going to move past that. As disappointing as it was, I think it's been a slightly disappointing period of time as well overall for Stockport County. I don't think performances have been particularly brilliant. I think that's been quite. I think it's been spoken about quite a bit actually. The lack of good performances from Stockport County, and if we're going to be balanced about it, the performances have been a lot worse than the results have been when we actually look at where we are in the table. And I think it's important to remind ourselves. We always go into this, and I think that there's two voices in our head with Stockport County at the moment. There's the ambitious aspect, which is not good enough. Results aren't good enough. We want to be, in those sort of promotion spaces. And then there's the bit of realism which comes back and reality hits back, and it's like, actually, we're doing really well to be in the position we're in so far this season in League One. And I think, I've listened to people speak about it throughout the week, and I think we've heard some really good opinions about County this week. And a lot of people saying, we're 9th or 10th in the table. In League One, the first time we've been in the league in 14-15 years, it's actually a really, really good position to be in. But obviously, disappointing and flat performances always leave a bit of a sour taste as well. So it'll be interesting to see how we approach it at the weekend. But as it stands at the moment, 4 wins so far for Stockport County in League One, 2 at home and 2 away. I'm pretty sure County's last win came away from home against Shrewsbury in a 2-0 win. Lincoln City, the Imps, of course, have conceded 3 in their last 2 league matches. Both ended in defeat, facing Birmingham and Crawley Town. Their last win came against Leyton Orient before the international break, so both teams have failed to win since the return of league football from the international break. Let's just have a quick look at the results from midweek, of course, where Charlton held County to a point last weekend, and they continued to do so against Barnsley midweek in a game which finished 2-2. Birmingham beat Bolton 2-0 at home, making it 2 wins in a row since their shock defeat to Charlton earlier this month. Burton Albion sacked manager Mark Robinson after the Brewers lost 3-2 at home to Wickham. They're the only team without a win so far this season in League One. Crawley Town responded from a heavy 4-1 defeat to Reading by beating this weekend's opponents Lincoln 3-0. And Peterborough United have been so up and down so far this season. They're League One's top scorers and League One's leakiest defence at the same time, scoring and conceding 25. They beat Blackpool 5-1. Cambridge United were chasing their first win of the season until they beat Wigan, who had conceded the least amount of goals in League One prior to that match. They then followed with 2 wins on the bounce by beating Stevenage 2-0, meaning in their last 2 games they've scored 4 and kept 2 clean sheets. Wigan's week didn't get any better after their shock defeat to Cambridge, as they lost 2-1 at home to Mansfield Town, and Wrexham versus Huddersfield, of course, have finished level. Look at the League One table as well now. Birmingham continue to keep their 4-point gap at the top. Wrexham maintain their second place position, though both Wickham and Mansfield could overtake, with both sides having played a game less. Huddersfield, Exeter, Reading and Barnsley are all joined on 19 points. Stockport County find themselves 9th in the table, ahead of Lincoln on goals difference. They had to share level points with Lincoln, Charlton and Peterborough. And then in the bottom half of the table, not much movement in the bottom half, to be honest, but Bristol have made the most movement, jumping from 18th to 15th in the table. Rotherham and Wigan have swapped places, as have Crawley and Shrewsbury in the relegation zone. Burton remain bottom and in search of points as Cambridge begin to pull away. So that's how the League One table is taking shape at the moment. Not been a brilliant it's not been a brilliant season so far, but for Burton Albion has it. And I don't think it's been the best of starts for Lincoln City, perhaps. Let me know your thoughts on that one. But Lincoln have been in League One since winning the League Two title in the 18-19 season. They, like County, had won the National League 2 years before. They've had a stable journey in League One since then, finishing 16th, 5th, 17th, 11th, and of course finished 7th last season. The Imps will probably see themselves as potential promotion contenders, and County will have to be aware of their threats, aware of the threats they may well carry. The Imps have scored 16 league goals so far this season, but a lot of the goals have been spread around the team. Ben House is their top scorer in the league with 3 league goals. Second to that is Freddie Draper, O'Connor, Adam Jackson, who have all scored 2 league goals as well. I believe 2 of those are defenders as well, so interesting. I've not seen how the goals are scored, but I assume possibly from set pieces, so that might be something to keep an eye on. I also know Dave Chown, I think, mentioned that he did his coaching badges with Lincoln's assistant, or he's doing some of his badges with their assistant, so I expect that both teams will know each other fairly well and how they want to approach the game. But yeah, talking about Stockport County, of course, the Hatters have failed to score in open play in their previous 3 games. Louis Barry has converted from the penalty spot in both of our last 2 games, making him the first player to score a penalty in consecutive games since Paddy Madden versus Sutton United in Notts County in December 2023. Tuesday night's penalty has put him up to 8 goals in all competitions this season and 7 in the league. County's draw midweek means the Hatters have drawn 3 league games back-to-back for the first time since 2021, when they drew with Dagenham, Torquay and Woking. And it's also the first time County have drawn 2 league games back-to-back at home since drawing in 4 consecutive home league matches during the 22-23 season, when they drew with Doncaster, Gillingham, Mansfield and Salford, all back-to-back home fixtures. County's last meeting with Lincoln came in League 2 on the 22nd of January 2011. The Hatters lost 4-3 to the visitors that day after Ashley Grimes completed his hat-trick for Lincoln's 4th goal of the game. Lincoln's Adam Watts scored for both teams, initially scoring for his side before bagging an own goal in County's favour. With just over 15 minutes remaining in the game, Adam Griffin and David Poole scored the other 2 goals for County that day in a game in which they would eventually go on to lose. The initial meetings of that season finished 0-0 at Sincil Bank, and the Hatters' record with Lincoln in league football has been fairly mixed, with only 2 wins in the last 8 league meetings. Lincoln have won on 4 of those occasions, with the other 2 being draws. Prior to that, though, County did enjoy a good set of cup wins against the Imps. From 1991 to 2003, County had faced Lincoln 4 times in cup competitions, winning in all 4, and perhaps a memorable one for some older County fans that might well remember the 5-0 win over Lincoln in the FA Cup back in November 1995. We're just going to mention as well, there are 3 players, I believe, in Stockport County colours who have actually played for Lincoln or had spells with Lincoln before. Callum Connolly's one. He was on loan during the 1920 season. Jack Diamond is the one who also enjoyed a favourable spell, I think, in 22-23. And of course, Cal Wotton, who spent a short amount of time, I believe, at the club during at some point in 2015, perhaps maybe January to the summer. Who knows? Let's go into team news then for Stockport County. Of course, we know it's going to be a tricky fixture. It's a tricky set of fixtures coming up, to be honest, for Stockport County. After this game, we've got quite a few games at home, so that's something to look forward to. But it is going to be tricky, and I think it's made trickier by the fact that we've got a few more injuries, it feels like, on the board again suddenly. Southern Hales is injured, Noyle's injured, Rydell is injured, but so is Jay Mingy, I believe, so is Callum Camps, and of course, so is Will Collar. Will Collar and Camps are huge misses, and of course, Jay Mingy is a big one as well at right back, but I thought Connolly came in and did okay in the game midweek. It'd be interesting to see what formation we line up with. But yeah, I mean, for me, there are some positives. I think Adai has obviously got over that dip in form that he had, a couple of weeks back. I think, as I say, Connolly's played better than his initial performances. With how his initial performances went. Horsfall is essential for us, but I thought, Hughes did fairly well in the game. I actually thought we defended quite well during the game. That's why it's disappointing that we conceded that goal late on. I think Ethan Pye was unlucky with that supposed foul late on, which enabled Northampton to have the free kick. I know some people thought Ethan Pye should have done better there, but I felt a bit sorry for him. Bates stepped up. I thought he held control well in the game. Same with Nick Powell. He came into the team. Probably my man the match. Probably quite a lot of other people's man the match as well. I think it was probably a toss up between him and Lewis Bate on the night. Both of them just looked in control of the game throughout, and I think that's exactly what Dave Chalner was looking for in the game, and that's why they were introduced. I think that Owen Bailey needs a little bit more time to shine. Obviously, showed glimpses last season. That's why we bought him. It just doesn't seem to have had the start to the season that I think he would have hoped to have had, but he's looked promising, in the games that I've seen him. I thought he came on against Wigan, did okay. I thought he was all right, midweek. As I say, we need to see more of him. Jayden Fevre looked bright again, dipped probably in the second half, I think it's fair to say, but still a very, very strong option for County. Louis Barry, of course, with the penalty, converting from the penalty spot. He's just unbelievable for us. I know he's got, deficiencies in his game, and I've spoke about on this channel. Dave Chalmers spoke about maybe not having enough assists in his career, but he's an unbelievable talent, and I think unless he's ill or injured, he has to start on that left hand side. And the one frustration I think we did have on Tuesday is that we didn't get him in the game often enough, particularly in that first half. He was non-eventful really, so that was disappointing. Tanto Alafi, of course, we know is lacking match sharpness. That looks evident just from watching him. But I think we looked better with him making those runs in behind. We looked like we carried a bit more of a threat than we do when we start Wootton. I want to get your thoughts on that, whether or not you think that's a fair assessment or not. As for Michael Mellon, he came on not with too much time really to have that much of an impact. But I think it's probably a little bit too soon for him to be starting games. I think bench him, maybe have an impact off the bench. For me, that Forest Green Rovers game in a week or two from now, that's his game to start. That's his game to try and say, look, that's your opportunity. And he's got to take it. Fiorini, I think, needs to be eased in as well from the bench. I don't think he's quite at the level to be starting games yet for Stockport County. Not really seen enough from him yet. And probably the same with Jack Diamond. I've not seen enough of a spark from him yet to go, yeah, he deserves to be starting games for us when we're at our strongest. So, interesting what you make of that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give my predicted 11 of what I think Dave Chalmers will go with, and then I'll go with what I would pick. So I think Dave Chalmers will line County up in a 3-4-3 kind of formation or a 3-5-2 kind of formation, however you interpret it. I think obviously Adai in goal. I think Connolly, Horsfall come back in, Ethan Pye as well. Then I think he'll go with Fevrier, Powell, Bate and Toure. I think Fevrier and Toure will sort of hug the touchlines in that formation. Odin Bailey just behind the two strikers, where I think he'll go with Louis Barry and Tanto Alafi. I've actually gone with, I think, pretty much the same team, just a difference in formation. In fact, it might be exactly player for player. I've gone with just a 4-2-3-1. I think that just makes us look a little bit more balanced in the team. So, that back four of Connolly, Toure as the full-backs, Pye and Horsfall as the two centre-backs, Powell and Bate playing deeper. I think it'll preserve control in the game. Obviously, we're missing Camps at the moment, we're missing Collar. Those are two big options in the field, which ordinarily would probably go in alongside Bate. So I think we've got to make up for that somehow. As I say, Odin Bailey behind the striker, Fevrier from the right, Louis Barry from the left, and Tanto Alafi down the middle. That's what I would go with. I think some people want to see Wootton maybe play down the middle, but for me, Tanto Alafi's got to build up that match sharpness, because when he's at his best, he's going to be unbeatable, and I think him at his best is a lot more threatening than what we see from Cal Wootton. But we have to remember as well, Cal Wootton put a very decent shift in at the beginning of the season. It's not quite gone his way over the last couple of weeks, but there's no saying that he can't come back into the side and have things going his way once again, because we start the season well. So I just want to end that on that, because I think that has people's expectations throughout the season changed? Because I think for me, I said beginning the season or go into the season, I think we'll finish just outside the playoff places, but I'd like to see us go for the playoffs. I think we have it in us if things click. Then, of course, we started well, and you think, I tell you what, we're on to some air. We beat Cambridge, we beat Blackpool, we beat Bristol Rovers. Things were looking sunshine and rainbows. And then you're thinking, how good could this season be for us? And then obviously we've had a slight dip in results since then, and it doesn't look like we've really ever sort of turned the season around from then. But I'm saying turn the season around, it's still ridiculously early into the season. What, 11 games in? So we can't get too carried away either way. We can't be too up or down at this point in the season. I really think the next couple of games, I really think maybe the run of games from now until Christmas will kind of decide where we will be come the end of the season. We'll have a relative idea of where County should be looking to be, I think. And I think if we can be top half and potentially even into those playoff places come the end of the season, I think it'll be a very, very decent first season. And I think there's a lot to be said for not going up too soon as well. So even if County did manage to get into the playoff places this season, a bit like the first season in League Two, we might not be quite ready. I don't think we are quite ready. And I think that the disappointing performances and the disappointing draws that maybe we could have won at times, over the last couple of weeks, that probably suggests that we're not quite on the level. And I think I was listening to something yesterday, made a really good point. If you look at the quality of the teams in the Championship, though, near the bottom, there's a very good chance that this could be our best season to get promoted because of the teams that are going to come down, the quality of teams that are going to come down. I think that this season there's some quality teams at the top of League One, but there's not as many as there probably will be that will drop from the Championship, come next season, if that sort of makes sense. So I just want to get people's thoughts on expectations at the beginning of the season. Has the results over the last couple of weeks changed? I think it's got to, to a degree, but has it changed it massively? Where do you think the county will finish based on the first 11, 12 games? I want to get your thoughts on that. As I say, score prediction, I'm always optimistic. I'm never going to predict us to lose the game. Am I going to predict us to draw the game? Not really, because I'm going and I want to see us, do well. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Stockport County at Lincoln on Saturday. That's my thoughts on the game. I want to get your score prediction and your team selection in the comment section below. Of course, do let me know your thoughts and everything Stockport County. Of course, we do have the match vlog coming up on Saturday as well, so that should be out at some point in the early hours, Saturday to Sunday morning. Well, I'll get back and I'll put it out as soon as possible for you guys. So do keep an eye out for that one, of course. But yeah, just let me know your thoughts on Stockport County, of course. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe as well. Do check the description as well. We've got all the links to socials and then anything like that to keep an eye on. And also do have a look at talkcounty.com as well, a Stockport County fans forum, very interesting to keep an eye on. So yeah, I think I've covered everything there. Get your thoughts in, like the video, subscribe, all the basics, and hopefully guys you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.